Hey everyone, welcome back to DDJs Inferno, the show where we talk about issues relevant to men and MGTOW. Just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in today. And also, I wanted to let everybody know, especially for those people that don't normally follow my stream, that after the stream ends, I'll be doing some post production and uploading the show to my YouTube channel, Miss Andrew Today. It will also be backed up on Bitchute as well as MGTOW.com. Now, for those that are new to the show, and I think there might be one or two, allow me to kind of explain some things to make life a little bit easier for you. In the beginning of the show, I usually have one guest. We have a conversation portion of the guest, and then at the end of the conversation portion, we open it up to the live audience for a Q&A session. Now, not every question will be asked. Specifically, questions that are going to be avoided are going to be obvious troll questions, questions that are retarded, as well as questions that are so far past retard that it's gone to potato land. Now, if your question is particularly retarded, we may actually identify you and publicly talk shit about how much of a potato you are. So just bear that in mind. Now, as far as the Q&A session is concerned, on the lower right-hand side of your screen where you see your dollhouse icon, occasionally there's going to be a little green points that float up called Bukkake Choke Slams. Now, you can redeem those Bukkake Choke Slams. If you hover over that corner, there'll be a box that comes up. You click it, and you can redeem those for questions. You can ask those questions at any time, and those questions will actually be stored. And then during the Q&A session, my Q&A thought, Lily Even 32, will go ahead and field those questions as they come in. Now, you're only going to see the Bukkake Choke Slams if you're on Twitch TV or if you are on a computer desktop. If you're on Roku, you're kind of fucked, from what I understand, because there's no way to type in questions. Now, if you're on a mobile device, you can actually type the questions in the chat. Lily will be monitoring the chat, and she'll try to collect those questions throughout the stream. You can ask them at any time. The way you want to do that so that she can see them is you want to put question, caps and brackets, direct the question to whether it's me or my guest, and then type out your question. The other thing I would say, too, is if you're going to ask questions, make sure that your questions are concise and reasonably well worded. If they're multi-part questions, that makes it a lot more difficult for us to capture all the questions and be able to answer them in a timely fashion. But also, there's a character limit on the Bukkake Choke Slam question, so I don't want your question to get cut off halfway through. So if you're going to use the Bukkake Choke Slams to kind of monologue, just make sure that there's not an issue there. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can do at Lily so that she can see the question, because it'll pop up on her and it'll kind of stand out a little bit more as well. That might help as well. And then we'll just kind of go there. We'll play it from ear. Again, if you're on a mobile device, caps and brackets, type the question, then type who it's from, or who it's to, I should say, and then type out your question. Now, with that, let's go ahead and get started. I should also say this as well. I know that there's probably a lot of people in the chat who don't normally come. I get that, and there's been a little bit of drama here and there. I understand that as well. So I want to make sure that there's a couple things that are abundantly clear before we get moving. First and foremost is that I have mods in the chat. And if you're not a normal person who normally watches my stream, you need to understand that, if you're trolling my stream, if you're just there to harass or you're there for whatever, my mods will ban you without notice. This is your notice right now. It doesn't matter if you're a larger YouTube. It doesn't matter who you are. Just, I want to make sure you understand, we're MGTOW. We really just don't give a fuck when it comes to that. So I just want to make sure that there's no confusion. And I've got mods throughout the chat, and my biggest and most harshest mod is MooBot. So if you are putting out links or you are typing in caps, MooBot will bend you over and will fuck you with no consent, no dinner, and no movie. So just be aware of that. I don't want anybody to get upset and start crying and act like they didn't know, or think that they're being targeted, because at this point nobody's that important. So other than that, for those that are relatively new, as you can see on the lower right hand side, my sponsor is the Dollhouse, and their link is at the base of the stream in Twitch. And then, of course, on the upper right-hand side, for those who aren't aware, I did write a book. It was an Amazon bestseller, The Feminist Lie. It was never about equality, under the pen name Bob Lewis. So, yeah, there's my shameless shill for the day. And then we're going to move on. Now, Our guest today, for those that don't know, I'm sure everybody does know, but for those don't, is Kraut from Kraut and Tea YouTube. Now, I don't really know Kraut, and before show prep, I probably spoke to Kraut directly somewhere between 2 and 3 hours total. Now, the only video that I have actually seen about the Kraut and Tea drama was Mr. Mediker's first video. And because his video accused Kraut of doxing without actually presenting any direct evidence of such, I really just avoided the rest because I don't really know Kraut outside of the task force server, and I don't know his history. I didn't even know who he was until then. I'll get into that in a minute. But I also avoided all the other audios and videos and everything else because I wanted it to be objective when I conducted this interview. With that in mind, I think it's important when we're getting started to lay up to lay down some foundation. One of the biggest things that I have seen as a former family law professional is the anatomy of a witch hunt. And I think that it's relevant to this, and I'll kind of go into detail why. A typical witch hunt is really big on accusation, but it is either very low or it has non-existent facts. And typically in those kind of circumstances, the best that people can hope for when they're witch hunting somebody else is circumstantial evidence. Those people who are accused are often publicly shamed. They're isolated. People that try to support them are shamed as well until they basically quit supporting them. Like, oh, that person did this, that person's a rapist. You shouldn't associate with them. The second that those types of things come up, everybody runs for the hills. Everybody's like, shit, I need to get out of here. Anybody who disagrees during the middle of the witch hunt usually gets shouted down, and they get targeted as well. Now, the other notable factor about a witch hunt is that there are lots of character attacks. There's lots of ad hominem attacks. It's basically feels over facts. I mean, it's a typical, the traditional way that we normally see this is when feminists start whining and crying about the bullshit that they supposedly go through when they're trying to create a victim narrative. A notable example would be Anita Sarkeesian. And again, those who are falsely accused of rape, and again, I'm talking about a witch hunt, so we're going to discuss it in the context of rape and sexual assault. Those that are falsely accused of rape, once they're isolated, once their spirit is broken, they actually confess to the crime. They end up getting convicted, they end up going to prison, and then 5 or 10 years later, they're exonerated through DNA evidence. And people always ask them, they're like, well, why the fuck did you confess if you knew you were innocent, you fucking moron? And really, it's because they're just emotionally broken down. And it's part of that isolation and shaming process. Because during the witch hunt don't normally go scorched earth. And, again, these people, even worse, you see this in family law, where these people will actually, specifically men and fathers, they will end up making mistakes because they're stressed out. They'll have a mental breakdown. They turn to alcohol. They turn to other unhealthy behaviors. And oftentimes, they'll make their situation worse just through their own unhealthy coping mechanisms instead of trying to help themselves out. Now, when I talk about like witch hunts and things like that, I think the two notable examples to touch base on are the #MeToo campaign and the Title IX college witch hunts, and of course, many family law cases. The reason that I think that those things are important is because the Title IX witch hunts and the Me Too witch hunts have one thing in common, and that is that there isn't a single police report out there. These people are accused. It's a listen and believe culture. Nobody does any kind of factual investigation. It's just assumed that because somebody said some shit, that all of a sudden it's true. Mattress Girl is a primary example of that. And again, with Mattress Girl was more of a Title IX witch hunt. But again, you look at like the Me Too, the #MeToo campaign, it's the same thing. And then you find out when you dig a little deeper, you find out, oh, the sex was consensual. You consented to sex. That's not rape. There was a guy in the UK recently who was having consensual sex with a woman, and he touched her breast, ended up bruising her breast in the middle of sex, and they convicted him of sexual assault because she got upset because her breast got hurt in the middle of sex. Now, thankfully, they put the pipe down, they let it grow cold, and they overturned that ruling. But that just gives you an example of how far these retarded witch hunts really go. Now, the reason that this is important is because, there's been allegations of doxing with regard to Kraut, with regard to the task force server, and some of those things with regard to me. Now, with that in mind, when I started looking into this, I started asking myself, what's the definition of doxing? And I found some really interesting arguments there. And what I found was that depending on who you spoke to, determined on what doxing was. And I realized very quickly that many people change the definition of doxing based on how harshly they want to target someone. So it's like the difference between the legal definition of rape and sexual assault as opposed to the definition of sexual assault that is normally used by feminists, and they expand it. Because feminists would have you believe, and there are feminists out there quoted saying that they believe consensual sex in the bonds of marriage is sexual assault and rape. They think that any time a woman doesn't initiate sex, that's rape. There are women who are quoted out there who are saying that if you have sex with a man and it's consensual, but you regret it later, that's sexual assault. I think, was it name Aziz Ansari? He was a victim of regret rape allegations. Now, the reason I bring that up, and this is important, is because I wanted to find the definition of doxing. Now, there are some laws out there about doxing. There are a lot of opinions out there about doxing. But, because I have a background in legal, I decided to go with the dictionary definition of doxing, specifically Merriam-Webster's dictionary. And that's this definition right here. And that is to publicly identify or publish private information about someone, especially in the form of punishment or revenge. That's the verb version. The noun version of doxing is the term used for troll harassment technique of finding, then posting a user's sensitive private information, including addresses, phone numbers, and even social security numbers. Now, this is important because there's been a lot of allegations about doxing. Some of those allegations have hit me, and there've been a lot of people out there who have said, where are, what is your involvement in the Kraut task force server and that kind of thing. So I've been avoiding kind of talking about this because I wanted to have Kraut here with me when I did, but I'm going to go ahead and deal with this all at once, so I only have to handle it once. First, this story actually starts prior to ever me knowing about the task force server. I actually met Devil's Advocate while promoting my book when the book first came out in over the summer of last year. And basically, Devil's Advocate did a couple streams with me. We ended up becoming friends as a result of those streams and the communications around that. And Devil's Advocate, for those that don't know, he's an African-American conservative with more of a libertarian bent. And he's more of like he's less of an establishment GOP, and yeah, just more of a libertarian. As we progressed in our friendship, he told me that he was being targeted by racists, and he had asked my opinion about that, and we had kind of talked back and forth. Pardon me for a minute. Excuse me. So eventually, Devil's Advocate invited me to the task force server, the task force Discord server. Now, what he had told me was that basically the server was set up to debate racists and to oppose racist entryism. Now, for those that are familiar with my book, I go into the definition of entryism in chapter 1 of my book, and you can go to Wikipedia and you can look that up. So, obviously you can open up a new tab and do that. So I'm not going to post a definition on the screen. Now, also he told me that MGTOW had been targeted for entryism by certain racists. And at the time, I had actually been talking with other MGTOW content creators, as well as some of our followers and some of our subscribers, I should say, about this idea of entryism into MGTOW, and that we had seen a lot of our comment sections filled with, rather vitriolic racist information or racist comments. So I joined the task force server under those auspices in early mid-December. Maybe, I don't know, I want to say the 8th or the 9th. I don't remember exactly because I didn't realize there was going to be a test. But, I joined because I saw what was going on with Devil's Advocate. He had told me he was concerned about entryism by racists into the MGTOW community. And I wanted to see what was it about. It was enough to ask. Now, before that time, I didn't know who Kraut was. I had never seen his videos. Like, I have my own life to live. I've got my own shit going on. I don't involve myself in the YouTube metadrama because up until this, I didn't even know there was any. So when he and I spoke originally, he had told me he was concerned about this entryism by racists. Specifically, he characterized them as alt-right. Now, I don't believe that everybody in the alt-right is racist, but I do know that there are racists within the alt-right. And he had said that he had had a friend of his who had practiced entryism on him. I didn't believe him. I was like, you got to prove it to me. So he showed me his video. I looked at it. I looked at the sourcing for it. And I was like, okay, yeah, no problem. Then I started conducting my own investigation. The results of that investigation were my video, Ghosting the Rahowa. And when I published that video, I had everybody spurg the fuck out. Everybody was just angry about it. And shortly after that video was published, I started seeing the accusations of doxing. Everybody's like, oh, Kraut's a doxer. All these people are a doxer. The reality is I never saw it. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time on that server, so maybe there was something I was missing, but I never saw it. So one of the things that I did, again, because I have a legal background, is I said, who's doxed? So, I started asking questions. I started looking into stuff. And especially because the butthurt was real about my Rahowa video. So when the doxing allegations came up, I started getting people in my comment section of my video trolling me on that. I started getting direct messages from Twitter from people upset and challenging me there. I had some people Twitter in comments that were harassing me. So, I mean, it was pretty bad. But, what was interesting is that as time passed, I started noticing something very revealing. And that was the racists, for the most part, they stopped commenting on MGTOW videos. They practically fucking disappeared. And I was like, shit, maybe Kraut was onto something. But again, I was not that concerned about the entryism and this and that. But it was very clear to me, based on, the time-honored tradition of looking at YouTube comments, that when the racists disappeared, that at least when it came to racism, it was very clear that Kraut was right when it came to that, on the entryism piece. And those who are in the MGTOW community, who actually watch MGTOW videos, I mean, you guys can confirm this. You can see it for the most part. So when people asked me why I was on the task force quote-unquote doxing server, I told them that it wasn't a doxing server. And clearly, no one listened. And that's fine. I get that. So with that in mind, Kraut, I'm going to ask you a question. And first and foremost, Kraut, just kind of introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello. I guess the first thing I have to say is to thank you, for working with us. Like I pretty much thanked everyone who worked with us in the server. Thanks for taking your time to join our calls and to take part in the, research calls. I don't know if you took part in any of the research calls, but in working with us in general. And thank you for taking an honest look at all of this.
Yeah.
And no, it was not a doxing server. The task force was not a doxing server.
All right. Now, Kraut, I gotta ask, and again, we went over this when I was doing show prep. I mean, you've been branded a liar. Why should I believe you when you say the server wasn't a doxing server?
Because we did not post anyone's docs in that server except for our own, when we posted pictures of where we work, etc., etc. People shared their own docs in there.
Okay.
We scammed through the fucking server, especially in one particular case when someone accused us of posting their docs. We found nothing in that regard. Nothing.
All right. Kraut, I am seeing in the chat they are asking for you to turn your volume up a little bit. Can I help you do that? Just a tiny bit?
Yeah. How about now?
Oh, shit. Let me turn you down. You may have said you're going to blow us all out.
Wait, how about now?
That's good.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so let me ask you this, and I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit just to kind of clear some things up. Do you know someone named Zephanorian?
Yes.
How do you know Zephanorian?
Liz Reptile, who's a friend of mine, has been a friend of mine for 2 years, introduced me to him. And I invited Liz Reptile, I had a chat with her about the alt-right and making videos on the alt-right, and she thought it was a good idea. So I invited her onto the task force, and I think she even took part in some research calls. Research calls to explain what we basically did was we went into a Discord voice group and then shared a watch together link And what we would do was we watched alt-right videos which we had gathered and sorted in threads according to YouTubers. And we watched those streams and videos.
I think we're getting off a little off topic.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Yeah. So I invited her in to make videos, and she brought Zeph on with. She introduced Zeph to me, and I had a chat with him, and I invited him on as well to join us on the server.
In what capacity?
I think he also wanted to make videos. I think he also did research calls with someone on a video that he wanted to make. He wanted to have some concepts in chemistry explained to him by one of our chemists.
Okay, so what was his role?
He seemed a competent.
He
seemed to be a competent IT guy to me. That was the main thing. He seemed to be a competent IT guy to me. So I asked him. I don't know if I asked him or if I just told him that he should be in charge of IT, but I wanted him to be in charge of server management, essentially.
Okay, so was he like a mod? Was he an admin? What was he?
I made him mod first, and then I made him admin. I think I first made him admin on my public server first.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So he was admin on multiple servers for you, is that correct?
Yep, he was admin on 2 of my servers.
All right. Now, speaking from today, are you and Zephanorian friends?
I don't think we are.
Okay. And based on everything that's transpired, do you trust him?
No, not really that much.
Okay.
Considering that, yeah.
Okay.
But I will just say, like to get to the bottom of this eventually in the future, I think I will have to have a chat with him.
Okay.
In the future at some point.
Do you think that Zephanorian considers you a friend?
No, I don't think so.
And do you think that Zephanorian trusts you?
Don't know. I can't read his mind.
Okay.
But I wouldn't think so.
Now, the reason I'm asking is because as I was looking into this before, when I set the announcement video up, there'd been a lot of allegations of doxing. If you guys look at my announcement video, it was hashtag Spurg Lives Matter. There were lots of vitriolic comments. And so I asked in a pinned comment for anybody to send me evidence of doxing that they may have. And this is because I wanted to double check the investigation that I had already done, that I conducted with many of the weaponized autists in TFM server, because we wanted to get down to this ourselves so that I could figure out what was going on. Again, I was on the server. I talked to everybody very minimally. I made my video and I was pretty much just, not there. In fact, if you guys look at the audios for any of the stuff that's supposedly out there, you'll notice that the only image that they have of me is as a member on the server, and no audios of me because I didn't participate in any of those conversations. But with that in mind, the reason why this is important is because I received this last Thursday. And this is a Discord chat log, private DMs between Zephanorian and someone else who I know. And in the context of the conversation, you'll see that Zephanorian in the yellow highlight says, basically, the task force server was never a doxing server. Now, Kraut, if I'm wrong here, I need you to step in here, but at some point, Zephanorian became the owner of the task force server. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was briefly before all this drama broke up.
Okay. So, and I want to make sure it's abundantly clear for everybody else. Kraut may be guilty of 15 other different things. But even Zephanorian, who Kraut admittedly doesn't get along with, and there are issues with Zephanorian and Kraut, even Zephanorian admits that it wasn't a doxing server. And I think that that's relevant. And Zephanorian, Kraut, if I'm wrong here, if Zephanorian says that it wasn't a doxing server, I mean, clearly as an admin and potential owner of the server, he would know. Now, the question I have for you is that there's rumor out there that he also recorded some audio. Is that correct?
Yeah, that turned out after the drama.
Okay, so he recorded audio and assumingly he analyzed it. So he would actually be in a pretty good position to say whether or not it was a doxing server. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I think he would be in a good position. I think most people who were in the server would, because they have access to everything, more or less.
All right. So, and for those guys that are there, for everybody in the audience, that document that I put up, I'm going to put it up again just so everybody can see it. It's a Discord direct message between Zeph and a person that I know, and where Zeph admits that the task force server was never a doxing server. Now, there are some other rumors and stuff that are there. I really don't care because, frankly, I wasn't on any of those other things. My membership was on the task force server, but there's been a lot of rumor about, the task force was a doxing server. Even Zephanorian admits that it wasn't a doxing server. And Zephanorian, I have to say thank you. Obviously, a lot of people in the MGTOW community, they disagree with you because of your orange pill / Tide Pod video that you did. But, I wanted to thank you and say that, I appreciate your willingness to come forward, even in private, and admit to the truth of the matter, since you're probably one of the best people to bring it up because you have no dog in the fight. It's not like you're friends with Kraut. It's not like you have any motivation to lie upon his behalf. And obviously you and Kraut had some kind of falling out. So again, Zeph, thank you. I think that's important. And this should put the whole task force as a doxing server to bed once and for all. I will post this to Twitter once I put the video up, and anybody can take a look at it if they want, and they can do whatever they want to with it. With that in mind, let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit, Kraut. Talk to me about why you set the task force server up.
The task force server was, funny enough, not the first server of its kind. Like, I set the first server like that up ages ago, 7 or so months ago, and it failed miserably because I made the mistake. Hold
on, just for a second. When you say it's not the first server of its kind, what was the purpose that you set this task force server up, and what was the purpose you set the prior server up?
The prior server was set up with the intention of looking into race realism, and that didn't work. People stopped posting in it, and I only invited in YouTubers. I didn't invite in any biologists or anyone with any actual academic knowledge. So it collapsed into nothing. And after about a month break, I thought, okay, the best thing to do is set up a new one. And what I would do is contact academics, people with actual credentials in the first place, and ask them about that. So I contacted 2 people, a geneticist and a neuroscientist. The geneticist I know personally, and the neuroscientist is a YouTube scientist, so to speak. He is, the Doktorand, the German guy. I put the idea to him and thought about, maybe we should set up some kind of working folder, some kind of place where we could work, and I set up the Discord server. And from then on, I just kept reaching out more and more to people who had academic credentials in STEM fields in science, in biology, and in chemistry. And I kept inviting more and more and more of these people. And at some point, I thought, maybe it might also be a good idea to get more YouTubers involved. And it kept growing. And the intention was...
And this is the task force server you're talking about, is that correct?
Yeah, that was the task force server. The task force server was basically get academics together with YouTubers for research purposes.
All right, again, let me stop you real quick. I noticed that we have a lot of people in the Twitch chat. I want to make sure that there's a little bit of a public service announcement again, since there weren't as many people in the beginning. If you are in the Twitch chat and you don't normally follow my content, and you decide that you're going to spurg out in my Twitch chat, or you're just making questions to troll, or I don't know, maybe you didn't breastfeed enough as a kid, my mods will ban you with extreme prejudice on a first offense, no warning. So you need to understand that. So if you're a bigger YouTuber, if you're a YouTuber who has hundreds of thousands of subscribers, do not make one of my mods famous for banning you, please. So just a little FYI. Sorry, Kraut, go on.
I forgot where we were.
You were talking about academics joining the task force server.
Yeah, the structure. I think what we managed to gather together was, if I'm not mistaken, 8 biologists, 3 chemists, 2 psychologists, and that was it. And we categorized in we made different categories for the different fields. We made biology, chemistry, psychology, and history. And I was in charge more or less of the history section. And then they were supposed to post like different research materials in it. and we were supposed to post in there if we had questions regarding certain fields.
Now,
For example,
when you had this opposition to the alt-right, you're bringing all these academics in your server. What was the purpose of having the academics? I mean, were they just to talk to one another? I mean, was it a circle jerk? I mean, was
no,
there a
it was
purpose
for
behind
them
it?
to explain stuff to us. It was for them to explain stuff to us. It was like we would watch a alt-right video on some topic in biology, for example, and you would watch it, and then you would set up a watch together, go into a call with one of the biologists and watch it together with them. But ideally, I have to say that we concluded after some time that the ideal situation would be that you have to have two academics from the same field within a call, so that you can double check the opinions more or less.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Okay, so we know kind of why you set up the task force server. It seemed like something went awry at some point. You seemed to go
was stupid.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Stupid, yeah.
And but it also seems like there was a point in the task force server where maybe you went off the deep end. I mean, maybe you went to crazy town. I mean, what was going on there?
I went full obsessive on the topic, more or less.
Talk about that in detail.
In a petulant way. I think it started with like some of the people who we had invited in there have careers in their fields and are pretty, how do I say, have really work-intensive weeks. We have, for example, we had one in there. I'm still in contact with him, a geneticist who does research on finding new treatments for leukemia. He has basically a 60-hour work week. And I kept edging these people to do more in the task force server, and then realizing, that was stupid. And then I kept edging the YouTubers more and more to go make videos. And doing this in a more and more abrasive way and becoming hyper-focused on this issue rather than doing stuff that I should have done on the sidelines as well.
So in other words, you got, when you say aggressive, I mean, were you just trying to be a dick to him? I mean, what ended up happening? I know that we talked a little bit about this show prep.
Not really blatantly, obviously aggressive, more backhanded comments, I guess.
Okay.
Now, like passive aggressive.
One of the accusations against you, above and beyond the doxing, and again, I didn't watch the Medicare videos. I know he did a series, but I noticed that there were issues other than doxing that came up that were relevant to painting an ethical picture of you. And one of the accusations that came up against you was something about scheming. You want to go into that a little bit?
Is that regarding the Operation Red Macro and Operation Mincemeat?
Yeah. So talk about those. Talk about Shitlist and any other operations that come along with relevance of doxing.
Shitlist was people who were banned from the server, who we said we should under no circumstances allow these people in there because they would just join in to stir shit up, basically.
So like drama queens or what?
Yeah, more or less like drama queens.
Okay.
Operation Mincemeat was my idea. That Operation Mincemeat actually started off right at the start of the server. And I had the idea with one of the biochemists in the server. The idea was we're going to dream up some complete pseudoscientific bullshit, nonsense. And I think we concluded with something along the lines of we're going to draw up this idea that there are certain cells relating to oxygen in the brain which are more effective in white people. It's some complete nonsense which sounds sciencey but is in fact complete bullshit.
So you were basically shitting out pseudoscience to see if you can catch these people.
No, we were still in the process of dreaming it up, and then we would have had one of our members. I'm not going to go into details who exactly set up a fake identity, more or less. Like we drew up a fake name, a fake town, a fake address, and she would approach an alt-right YouTuber and try to sell him that bullshit. And then watch that alt-right YouTuber make a video presenting that bullshit as fact and then laugh our asses off.
Basically, you were trolling.
Yeah, but it was shut down by, ironically, the more senior biologist told us to shut this down because it was pointless in his words. And then we moved on to a different stage with that, which was Do you know that Jordan? You know Jordan Peterson?
I'm familiar with him.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah. You can do a live stream with him if you pay $200, and uh, a lot of us believe that he's somewhat full of shit. And what we wanted to do is pay him the $200 for a live stream, and then set up a live stream between him and this YouTube guy. I don't know if you heard of him. His name is Adverdiesen. He is a 50-year-old Dutch alcoholic who's completely insane and talks about women's masturbators.
So you were going to try to troll Jordan Peterson with some crazy drunk
Yeah.
alcoholic.
Yeah, we wanted to set. We would have told Jordan Peterson that this is a Dutch intellectual with a speech impediment, even though he's actually just an insane alcoholic.
Oh, that's just hilarious. It's wrong, but it's hilarious. Talk to me about. Let's switch gears. Talk to me about mackerel a little bit, or is that mackerel?
Mackerel was the idea of a chemist. He's a pretty good friend of mine. Like the two of us have become pretty close in regard of, like, we're both history nerds. We keep talking about World War II history and shit like that. Operation Mackerel was basically in the 1970s. No, 1960s. The Dutch government set up a fake communist party to attract all the Dutch communists to join that communist party. And the purpose of it was so in case if the Dutch government ever had to arrest all the communists, they would have a list of all the communists in the Netherlands.
Okay.
And the idea was we would create a fake task force server. And whenever we would invite new people, we would invite them into that server first. Because at that point, I think that chemists started thinking, okay, I think it's very likely that people will start to try to infiltrate us and disrupt their work. And his conclusion was, yeah, we're going to make a fake server. And if stuff starts getting disrupted there or leaking from there, we would know who is a leaker and who isn't.
Okay. Let's kind of move forward a little bit. So one of the issues that has come up, and people that came to me and talked to me about before the interview was, it's my understanding that at some point you had a conversation with Sargon of Akkad that was reported, or I should say recorded. Can you talk about that and kind of give us kind of a synopsis of what that was, what happened, and your side of that story?
Yeah, that was a stupid thing. Basically, I wanted to steer the conversation into race realism, and I wanted to test something, which was kind of stupid, which was, if we go on live streams with these people, have the biologist whisper in my ear. And it was a stupid thing to do, backhanded. And yeah, I regret doing that, actually. I really do. I recorded him confronting me in a Skype call. And yeah.
Okay. Now, you said did you record him?
Yeah. No. A friend of mine recorded him, but I'm not going to go into detail.
No, that's fine. I don't need to.
It's me because it's my responsibility in the end.
Right.
And it's my responsibility. I will eventually have to apologize to him for it.
Sure.
But I'm going to do that privately, and then he can decide if he wants to publish it or not. But I'm going to have to apologize to him, and I will.
So just to be clear, then, did you lie to Sargon?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
I have to apologize to him.
Okay, fair enough. Now, when it came to when the allegations of doxing came out, and everybody was getting like harassed over the doxing, why did you admit responsibility if you were not guilty of doxing?
I guess I pretty much started thinking that it must have been true, that there must be something in there that I might have overlooked. And I also wanted that shit to end, more or less. I wanted this to blow over. But yeah, and in the end, we just kept looking for any kind of evidence of us doing anything. But we didn't find anything.
Okay. And
we're still kind of looking through it all.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, the allegations of doxing came out, mid-December, like late December? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
When all the allegations came out, it seems to me, and again, I didn't follow this very closely. Maybe somebody in the Q&A section can kind of educate me a little bit on this. But it seems like the only two people that you had been accused of doxing, at least from what I saw, was Coach Red Pill and Rage After Storm. Is that...
Oh, there were more than those. There were more than that.
Okay.
I know exactly who. With who should I start?
Well, it's very clear to me. I mean, I watched the Sargon video that he released about the confidence trickster, where he goes into detail about Coach Red Pill. And from everything I saw, I mean, I think it's pretty common knowledge that Coach Red Pill doxed himself. So I'm not really worried about that. But I
Yeah.
think that as far as the Rage After the Storm thing is concerned, I don't think that you doxed her because her information was public. And again, for those people that are missing out,
Well,
I'm
I
actually
don't
using
know
the
her name.
right.
I
I'm
don't.
actually
I still don't know her real name to this day. Actually.
right. I just put the definition from Merriam-Webster's dictionary about doxing, so we actually have a stable definition as opposed to the ever-evolving feminist definition of doxing. Um, Somebody has a different definition of doxing, they can put that on their YouTube response video or whatever if that's what they want to do. This is the definition that I'm using, and because it seems to be the most holistic and the most credible. But with that in mind,
With
talk to me about what happened with Rage After Storm.
that happened before the task force server even existed. I think it happened while the first server, the pre one, existed. But yeah, what was it there? She made a video titled "Race is Real," which wasn't very well received, and then she went on some anti-Semitic meltdown on Twitter. And I watched the meltdown more or less, and in her Twitter bio, she said that she wrote for a UKIP party blog and had the Twitter account of that UKIP party blog linked in her Twitter bio. So I clicked on that Twitter bio, on that link, and tweeted at it, "Hey, do you agree with her views? Or you may want to look closer in her views," or something like that. And 20 minutes later, I kind of thought, yeah, that's just a stupid fucking thing to do, and deleted that tweet again. And a month after all of that had happened, this entire stuff was brought up again.
All right,
And
let me ask
yeah,
you a quick question before we move on. So you tweeted
mhm,
this at her employer and made some comment about, do you agree with her views? Now,
pretty
I
much.
was told at some point they actually parted ways with her. Is that an accurate reflection?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Now
that's
now
true.
let me ask you this. Between the time that you sent the tweet and the time that they parted ways, did you contact her employer directly beyond that tweet?
Mm. No, well, no, I didn't. I contacted the guy who runs the blog, who wasn't her employer, by the way, after all of this, like when the drama flared up again. The reason behind it was because I deleted the tweet 20 minutes after I made it. I sent an email to he's a member of UKIP, of the political party, and he runs that blog. And I sent in an email asking him, "Hey, did I specifically get her fired?" And the reasoning behind that was admittedly somewhat childish, because I wanted to rub it into the face of the people who accused me, saying, "Here you go, I didn't get her fired." Of course, it would have backfired if that person would have told me, "Yeah, you got her fired." In that case, I would have had to admit wrongdoing. But I didn't get that kind of response. The UKIP party member wrote back to me in email saying, "Well, you didn't get her fired because it's not even her job, and because we received hundreds of complaints about her from other people, not via Twitter, but via email. And more importantly, and this is his opinion, and it kind of changed my mind on the situation. He said, well, and even if you had gotten us to part ways with her, you would have done nothing wrong, because we're not a party of fascists and racists. We're a conservative party, and we don't want people like this associating with us, let alone trying to sneak into our political party."
Okay. Um And so when you withdrew the tweet after 20 minutes, why did you withdraw that tweet? Because I heard that there was an apology that was made at some point.
Because yeah, I think I tweeted when I made that tweet. Someone tweeted at me, "That's a low-handed blow." So what I did was delete that tweet and then tweeted that person, "Yeah, you're right. I deleted my tweet," or something like that. "Apologies.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I deleted my tweet."
Now, I was told that during this whole doxing thing prior to the supposed doxing allegations going public, that you ended up having some breakdowns, that there were some other issues going on. You talked
Yeah,
about your Ahab and
frustrations.
white whale moment. Kind of go into that and tell me about kind of what that process was in hindsight.
I think the race realism thing, in particular, the biology aspect became a white whale, and yeah, I became hyper focused on it whilst actually doing other work. like, I don't know how much you looked into the task force. So one of the things I did was start up a thread on a project where we read through some race realist books. I should have focused on that a little bit. I also went to a historical archive and gathered SS documents regarding the Holocaust, etc., for videos on Holocaust deniers. But I started completely ignoring all the other work that I was doing and just hyper-focusing on the aspects of race realism regarding IQ and genetics. I became obsessed with it in a weird way. And I think my breakdown came, I think, 2 weeks or a week before all the drama, which was me just spurging out in the task force server and shouting at people, well, why the fuck are you not making videos too? Something along those lines.
So, all right. That kind of gives me right. So just again, just to reiterate. So it sounds like you had the task force server because you had this opposition to race realism. It seems like, to summarize, it seems like there was an obsession. You did some scheming. You acted.
That's about categorization, I guess. I guess the task force was made up to argue against the alt-right and their argumentations against their videos.
Okay.
But,
okay, fair enough.
What ended up happening through me was a hyper focus on race realism.
Okay.
On genetics in particular.
And then somewhere along the lines, you got obsessed. I mean, it clearly sounds like you acted unethically. I mean, is that a mischaracterization? I mean, obviously there were things that you did that people actively disagreed with.
Like one of the things I did was I looked into Alternative Hypothesis YouTube channel. It's kind of a weird story. I was watching his videos and someone joined the voice chat, asked me what I was doing, and I said, yeah, I'm watching videos about Alternative Hypothesis. And that person then pointed out to me that she knows the guy. She's known him for years, that he has had a YouTube channel for years, that he kept making a YouTube channel promoting race realist crap, then deleting that channel, then coming back a couple of months later and making videos again until people caught his attention and started debunking him. And then they would delete that again. And he has basically been on YouTube arguing his nonsense for 9 years. And she linked me some of his older channels. She gave me the names of his older channels. And I just basically went and searched for all of these channels. And yeah, he was basically repeating the same stuff over and over again for 9 years. And whilst I was searching for all of this, I found a video of him masturbating. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I found a video of him masturbating. Yeah.
This guy was rubbing one out on video. Yeah. Yes. Okay, go on.
It's on YouTube. I think it's still on YouTube. And I laughed my ass off and shared it with the people in the task force server. I then kind of scratched my head on what the fuck do I do with this? Do I even do anything with this? And then we had more or less a discussion in the voice chat on what to do with this video. Do we use it? Do we use it to make fun of him? Do we post it somewhere? And what people got upset about, I guess, is that I suggested leaking it to the social justice warriors on YouTube, to the social justice YouTube community, which was admittedly stupid. A stupid thing to suggest in the first place.
Yeah, definitely.
In the end, I didn't do anything with the video in the end.
Okay.
So, as far as I know, it's still up on YouTube.
Right. Now let me ask you this. Just kind of switch gears here, because again, I don't want to take up too much, of people's time. And again, I only want to keep this stream to 2 hours. So my question for you is, did you delete your YouTube channel, tell me the status of your YouTube channel. Tell me the status of what you're doing.
No, I privated all the videos, and I basically shut everything down. I privated all the videos. I privated my Twitter, and logged out of my YouTube channel and logged out of my Twitter.
Okay.
Basically, I just had a moment of fuck all of this.
Okay, well, let's switch gears again, since we're going to go ahead and play on that word. Apparently, another Clone 13 has asked the question: were you attracted to Rage After Storm? In other words, would you smash?
No, I wouldn't date anything anymore that is under 21 years old. It's just naive. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah. All right, and then here's a question from Octavia Witch. It's Kraut. Why did you decide to cooperate with Guardian Squirrel of all people He's clearly a rogue agent, judging by previous happenings, and clearly wouldn't follow your operation to destroy the alt-right. Do you want to talk about that?
I guess I trusted him over the Candid thing. That's how he made his name, as far as I know. He was one of the main driving forces behind exposing the Candid stuff, and that spoke for him in his resume, I guess. I'm still not really that angry with him, to be honest. In a weird way.
I do want to say a couple things, and then we'll kind of open it up to the Q&A. I disagree with what you did with Rage After Storm, even though I disagree with her views. I thought what you did was unethical. As far as the dishonesty to Sargon and everything else, obviously I disagree with that. You said you're going to take care of that. I'm confident at some point you will. But as far as the rest of it, I appreciate your willingness to be candid with me. And
of course, I owe you that. You were part of the server,
right?
I owe you an explanation.
Sure. Now, for those people who are live right now, there's 900 people in chat. I have one Q&A thought, and she's just a female. She's going to try to get to the questions, but we're going to close the stream at 2 hours, which is going to be 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if we don't get to your question, I apologize. She's just going to shoot the questions over and ask the questions, and then we'll address them as we can. So with that said, thank you again, Kraut. I appreciate your willingness to accept responsibility for some of the things that you've done. I'm sure that there will be all kinds of response videos made as a result of this. And for those people who showed up to the stream late, just to reiterate, I'm going to put this back on the screen, and I will make this public through Twitter. Zephanorian did speak to somebody, I believe it was this week, and they provided me a copy of that Discord direct message that basically says that the task force server was never a doxing server, and since Zephanorian at one point became owner of the server and was an admin of the server, and it's my understanding that he has 20 plus hours of audio recordings in the server, that he would be one of those people who would know. So just kind of reiterate that. Let's go into the Q&A. Lily, take it away.
Hi guys. So we've already answered a couple of questions. I'm just going to let you know we've already answered anything to do with why he's not got his videos public, like his account's still there, it's not deleted. But I'm
still going to stay off for a while, an undefined while.
Okay.
So not sure if I'm coming back at all. Like, I'm booking a holiday abroad, and I haven't swum in the ocean in over 5 years, and that's something I have to pick up. That's the conclusion.
Okay.
Well, before you jump forward, give me a quick second. So, Kraut, I have a question. Are you planning on coming back to YouTube, or is it up in the air?
It's up in the air.
Okay. Sorry, Lily. Go on.
All right. Well, that kind of both answered the next question. The next question was, will you make your old videos public again?
Yeah, I keep getting emails to make videos public. And especially in my public Discord server, they still keep asking for that. What I think I'm going to do is ask people which ones they want up again in my server, and then I'm going to make those public again. That's basically regarding that.
Okay.
Next question.
So, we have someone that asked, wait, was he not guilty of doxing? So just put it out there for everyone to know.
We went through every single doxing allegation. We were accused of doxing Aiden Paladin. No evidence. We were accused of doxing a German alt-right YouTuber called Reconquista Germanica. You can go to his YouTube channel. He literally starts every single video of his with, "Hello, my name is Nikolai Alexander, and today I'm going to talk about this." But in German. And the archives that we made of his page were comments he made where he said, "We have to drive the German government, into doing more and more censorship through our own behavior, so that when we are in charge, the police state will already be there for us to control." Who else accused me of doxing?
I think Coach Red Pill did, but he doxed himself, and Kraut Sargon wrecked his credibility on his con art or confidence trickster video. So
yeah, like a lot of people came forward and claimed that we were doxing them. Even, I mean, we had, admittedly, the structure of the server was stupid because we needed a place to dump all the videos, and I structured the server in accordance to their YouTube channel names, and then we posted their YouTube videos, Twitter tweets, blog posts, etc. The intention was that you would respectively post them in there, and people could go through them. And yeah, if you would have looked at that structure, you would have realized that there was a Paul Joseph Watson thread, who isn't alt-right, but we wanted to go through him, in particular, looking at older videos of his where he embraced the alt-right about a year ago, and then his newer tweets where he condemns them and call him out on that. But how would I dox Paul Joseph Watson, for example? I mean, the guy
Right.
is out there with his real name. It doesn't make any bloody sense.
No, I get it. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So next question.
Okay. You know what? I've actually got a lot of questions that have still doubling up, guys. He's already covered whether or not he'll be coming back, or, but
Yeah, if you
want
guys
to
missed,
reiterate that.
yeah, if you guys missed those questions or those answers, this video is going to get uploaded to YouTube later today, and you guys can watch the entire stream there. All right, next question.
Okay. Has the dust settled, or will there still be aftershocks?
The dust has not really settled. How do I put this? Most people in the task force server started getting doxxed when the drama started off. It was one of the reasons why I decided to shut the servers down. So, the backlash alone, like I basically, like, I honestly I didn't watch a single video on the drama in the past month. I basically just wanted to shut off and relax and have time for myself and just sit back, read some books that I haven't read. I don't know, go on holiday, get a real job again for the first time in probably a year, and just calm down. That's basically what I wanted to do. And maybe I enjoy that. And if I enjoy that, I'm going to continue that and forget about YouTube. Or maybe sometime in the near future, I think I have a video worth making again.
Okay.
Okay. Next question is for you, DDJ. Now that the RPC has shown it for what it is, why do you allow the community to put one and one together on those who promote it? Why not allow, sorry?
I don't understand what so here's my thing. So RPC, for those that don't know, is called the Red Pill Coin ICO, which is initial coin offering, and basically it was a scam. And Marcus from the Groundwork for the Metaphysics of MGTOW did a lot of the heavy lifting on there. He put out a video in December about it. It was a major concern for him because he read the white paper and he realized that the Red Pill coin was backed by nothing, so it was basically thin air. And he said on those grounds it was a scam, whether or not it was intentional. Now, I'm doing a very quick and dirty paraphrase, so I'm not doing justice to his video. People should watch it. It's a 25-minute deep dive into the Red Pill coin ICO. I looked into it because I was concerned about some other things associated with the people who were promoting it, but there were also some aspects about the Red Pill coin I was concerned about. So I put out a couple videos about it as well. I eventually put out, including my most recent video, I put out 5 videos about the Red Pill coin ICO, where basically it was a scam. I mean, it's a scam from start to finish. There's, I wasn't able to find any evidence that the company, that the website redpillcoin.com said that they were basically a business out of the state of California. I found no evidence of that. I put a video out to that regard where I showed that they were not registered with the state of California either as an LLC, an LLP, or a corporation. And if you're not licensed to do business, it's a concern, especially if you're doing something that could potentially be a securities issue, like and invoke the potential for the SEC. It was a complete shit show. Now, in response, rather than address the issues that my videos raised or the issues that Marcus' video raised, the people involved decided to go full retard. They decided to do ad hominem attacks, character attacks. They brought up these false allegations of doxing against me. They tried to do stupid stuff like say that MGTOW was war and that people are soldiers, and they were just retarded. And had they been accountable and responsible about some of this stuff, I think that it's important. But the thing is that, the MGTOW community, the stated MGTOW community is very small. And the larger MGTOW community, in other words, the people that may not know the term MGTOW, but they actually live the MGTOW lifestyle, is far larger. And Marcus's second video that came out, he actually quoted another YouTuber who was going to invest $100,000 into the red pill coin until Marcus warned him. So these videos are public service announcements. Obviously, my videos are not necessarily as respectful as Marcus's are, but that's just my style. And some people don't like it. They can go play hide and go fuck themselves. But I brought out issues, and I even gave Chris Cantu and the crew that's working with him to promote the red pill coin. I gave them an opportunity to come on a stream with me and to address the actual questions and to ask or to answer the actual questions. Nobody's reached out. Nobody's said, yeah, let's go ahead and do this and move on. No, it's all obfuscation and ad hominem and bullshit. So, when they decide that they want to accept some accountability for their misconduct, I'm happy to have that conversation. I think that maybe MGTOW 101 and Chris Cantu may have gotten in over their head, and that they painted themselves into a corner, and it's really a shame because I like both of them. I think they're both decent individuals as far as like I got along with them. They seem reasonable. MGTOW 101 is the largest MGTOW YouTuber on the internet, and it's just a shame to see such lack of ethics when it comes to that kind of thing. And then for them to turn around and try to rehabilitate their destroyed character by trying to make false attacks against me is, on a good day, is retarded, and on a bad day is embarrassing. So I feel bad for them. And, I know that, they're doing their best to try to figure this out as well, but there's just too much chutzpah going on right now with it. And, most of the people that are following them, they're just, I don't know, they're just retarded. I mean, I've seen some of their live streams, and it's like, it's to say it's cringe is to compliment it. Next question.
Okay. From that guy from high school, if you could go back 6 months ago, what would you do differently? Kraut, I'm assuming that one's for you.
What would I do differently if I go back 6 months? Probably not make that Rage After Storm tweet. What else? One of the geneticists I contacted for the first video, not sure if I'm going to make it public how that transpired, but I kind of pissed her off massively. And I wouldn't piss her off. Like, she's really angry with me. She doesn't even want to talk to me. Restructure the server in a different way. Probably, like, one of the things that started ever since I went off YouTube is that the biologists I worked with, one of them was really not angry about me shutting down the channel. They started their own YouTube channels, and they're going to keep taking on this topic themselves. If you want to check them out, the one is a biochemist. Her YouTube name is Drolasta. The other one is an organic chemist. His YouTube name is Zabimeister. And as far as I know, the cell biologist and the psychologist will also start their own YouTube channels soon. I probably should have talked them into opening channels sooner, several months ago, to handle this topic themselves, whilst I could have gone through historical documents. That would have probably been it.
Okay. Next question.
Okay. Kraut, can you summarize the original intent of the server and what you hope to accomplish with it?
The original intent behind the server was... That conversation was probably secretly recorded. I'm not sure. I had a call with someone where we complained about that few people do extensive research anymore. and I wanted to bring academics together with YouTubers for help within research. So if a YouTuber were confronted with a topic where they don't know much about, they would have a platform where they could contact, say, a biologist, a chemist, a psychologist, a physicist, etc., and ask questions regarding the specific topic, and then get answers which would help them out.
All right, next question.
Okay, you're gonna have to give me a second here. There's a lot.
All right. Let me ask
Is
you
anyone
this.
who is...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good. Go.
All right. Is anyone who is just in the server responsible for anything that happened that one doesn't have a tour from? Or like
Sorry, could you repeat it quickly? I'm terribly sorry.
Sorry, I'm assuming it's for Kraut. Is anyone who is just in the server responsible for anything that happened?
I don't know what specific people are responsible for, because I kind of lost the overview of it. People were posting left, right, and forward. Responsible for what in particular? Like, for example, in the people of interest category, we kept making new threads for new YouTubers whose videos we thought we should respond to. And people kept deleting each other's threads and starting new threads. And we ended up having threads there for alt-right YouTubers who only have 200 subscribers. And then I would look at that and think, this is kind of pointless. Why would we respond to someone like that? That maybe give you an idea of how chaotic things were. Like, the entire thing proved one thing to me, which is that I am very shit at organizing things.
I would agree with that. Holy shit, yeah.
Right.
And you're naive.
Yeah.
No disrespect to you, of course, but yeah, damn.
And then I get angry when things go to shit.
Yeah.
And blame everyone. More or less.
Well, and from what I've seen, from a little bit I've seen, I mean, you definitely do have, a little bit of anger management issues. So.
Oh yeah. I pretty much, I had friends in this server whose friendships I pretty much almost ruined to a certain extent by just screaming at them.
Right. Okay, so let me ask you this. So with the information that you collected on the task force server, clearly you didn't directly dox anybody. Did any of the information you provide that you're aware of, did it lead to the doxing of anyone that you know of?
As far as I know, not. I mean, the video of alt-type masturbating, look, the mistake I did was sharing stuff like this when I found it in the task force server.
All right, so then I gotta ask you this question then, because this I think is somewhat relevant. If you didn't dox anybody, why did you say that you had the dox of these people? Like, I mean, were you just labeling public information as doxing? I mean, what was going on? I mean, were you just retarded?
Yeah, kind. I mean, we discussed if the things that we found regarding the old hype video, for example, we discussed for ages if that would be a dox if we posted it.
Okay.
I mean, the video, you just Google one of his old channel names and you'll find it.
Okay.
And yeah, you would have to know his old channel name. And yeah, it's an embarrassing thing out there. And do we really want this to go public? Do we really want to throw this out there? Do we really want to do this for the lols? Isn't that doxing, technically speaking? That's the kind of stuff that we discussed. And we ended up often calling these things dox. If they are or if they aren't, I guess that's open to debate.
Okay. Lily, do you have any other questions? I mean, obviously you got a bunch, but I mean, I know you're trying to catch up, so.
Just a couple more. All right, Kraut. Why did you apologize for becoming a monster if you did nothing wrong?
I think I did something wrong. In particular, sharing the video that I found, sharing around the Coach Red Pill info dump on the task force server. Just funnily sharing it around and obsessing. Like, I think you put it best, white whale. If that's a Moby Dick reference, the race realism became a white whale. When I should have just let other people make videos on it too. People in the task force server. And not in such an aggressive way.
I have a follow-up. Yeah, I have a follow-up question on that. So you were talking like all these research calls and you got obsessed and everything. I mean, how many hours a day were you on this fucking server doing shit?
I don't know, but we ended up with research calls. Like we recorded the research calls, and then we shared them amongst the academics and the YouTubers who took part in them. And in total, I think we ended up with 16 hours of research calls. You have to keep in mind that a 20-minute video from all type, we would get together 5 people, 2 YouTubers, a chemist, a psychologist, and biologist, and watch that video together. And our response, like we would pause them every minute and then address all the points made, and that would end up being up to 4 hours long. And then, like a week or 2 weeks before the drama started, we wanted to finalize on making response videos to JF. And his streams were up to 3 hours long, and we did the same thing with him. And we would have ended up more or less with 8-hour long research calls, more or less. So yeah, I spent a lot of time there doing that.
So like over 10 hours a day, over 15 hours a day? I mean, what are we talking?
Oh, not just in front of, like in the server itself. Like two of them sent me books. One of them sent me studies. And I ended up reading these studies. And basically what I did was whenever I came across a concept that I wouldn't understand in biology or in chemistry, I would call the respective academic, the chemist or be it the biologist, and ask them to explain it to me. So yeah, I did invest a lot of time.
Okay, next question.
All right, next question. Oh God, my question just moved. Okay. For Kraut, I'm assuming, did any of your academics proof watch your videos before you published them?
Only the third one, because previous to the first one wasn't even proofread, which was stupid. I just called the 2 academics, the geneticist and the neuroscientist, and asked them questions and then put them down on script. The second video was kind of proofread, and I say kind of because the 2 academics, the geneticist, she is Austrian, the neuroscientist is German, and the script was initially written in German. They proofread it, and then I translated it myself in English and didn't have the English translation proofread. Third script was proofread by most. It was proofread by a biochemist, by a geneticist, and by a chemist. And then after I made the audio recording, I had that proof listened, and then I had the video proof watched, and the video creation process in total took up to 3 weeks because we kept finding things to correct, things to edit, things to differently visualize. Then with the 4th video, I had the script proofread by, I think it was the biochemist, and we didn't proof watch the video though. We had it proofread, but not proof watched. We always kept talking about creating a system of proofreading, but never really established any kind of certain rules. And we probably should have done that from the start, which would have been more helpful.
Hence you being a shit organizer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, next question.
Okay. To Kraut, do you believe that you were satisfied with the results of the academic resources you had, or do you think that you would have benefited from better researchers?
I think I benefited from the academic research that I had. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the amount of academics that we have had in the server literally kept growing even whilst the drama was going on. Like it kept growing right up to the point that the task force server was shut down. In a weird way, the drama kind of helped as a recruiting tool to get more biologists on. Like I made it public that I was searching for academics for a Discord server on my Twitter, tweeted it out, and through that we managed to get 2 anthropologists to join us. But with the dramas flaring up, we got, I think, unfortunately, they're no longer around to work with us, but I think we got 2 new biologists and 1 philosopher major to join us.
I have a follow-up
Philosophy.
question for that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a story that apparently there was a New York Times reporter that was associated with the task force server. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, she tweeted at me and wanted an interview. I called her on Skype. Basically, what she wanted to, she thought, I believe she thought in the beginning that I was a scientist myself, and I told her that I wasn't. And basically, from that moment on, she wasn't really that interested in me. The only people she really wanted to talk to was the scientists, in particular the biologists, who didn't care much about the psychologists and the chemists. She really wanted to talk to the biologists amongst us, which were Americans. And yeah, that was basically it. She was interested in the academics themselves. I think it went along the lines of her asking the questions of why don't biologists do more to debunk pseudoscience? And we kind of explained to her, yeah, some of the guys we worked with, one of them did lung cancer cell research, the other one did leukemia cell research. These people have better things to do than argue with people on the internet.
Okay. Lily, next question.
Okay, I think this one's for you, DDJ. Your definition of doxing includes the term private. What is the definition of private?
I don't know. It's not my turn to fucking babysit. Maybe you can go check Google or the dictionary definition of private for yourself. I don't know. Google's a thing. Next question.
Google. I can tell you the definition by Google if you like.
No, it's not our turn to babysit. We got adults here. They can do it themselves. Go on.
Okay, for Kraut. Could you summarize what you learned, unlearned, proved, or disproved from the server?
Get people with better organizing talent. What else? What else did I learn? Academics will respond if you ask them.
Even if it turns into a meme.
Yeah, pretty much. Basically, there's a reason why these people don't have YouTube channels. There's a reason why you don't find a lot of chemists doing YouTube channels, and that is because they're actually doing real work in their real lives and have real jobs. And it's that all this research that would go into making videos debunking pseudoscience takes a lot more effort than what it looks like. When you watch a YouTube video that is 10 minutes long, debunking some nonsense, it's easy to overlook, I guess, that often takes up to a month or two of research because they have to source every single claim they make. I learned to appreciate what these people do in their careers and in their lives and what they dedicate themselves to.
Well, it sounds like you probably, at least moving forward, may not want to scheme and be dishonest to people either.
Yeah, may not get emotional either.
Okay.
May not get too emotional either. This is also another thing, the Spino thing, the David Sherrod thing. A lot of accusations came around me talking to him again. I've contacted him before the task force server was even a thing to rebuild my bridge with him. And to be frank and honest, I tried to talk him into contacting Sargon and him rebuilding his bridge with him again, but that didn't go anywhere. But yeah, the trying to leak things to SJWs was stupid. Maybe with the information that I had, I should have just made a video about it myself. No, not just maybe. I should have probably made a video about it myself rather than trying to get third parties to make videos on this stuff.
Okay.
It's a bit
Next question.
Etc.
Okay. Kraut, do you think your activities hurt or helped the efforts to oust the alt-right and debunk their views?
I think in the long term it helped, especially when I'm now looking at the academics who were in the task force server opening their new channels and taking this on head on themselves with their knowledge, not trying to get it through me, not trying to have me write an understandable script with what is in their minds, but they doing it themselves, which I believe will be positive in the long run, that you will now have YouTubers back in the sphere again who are actual biologists, actual chemists, etc., etc.
Okay.
I have a question here for you that I got shot to me. So Kraut, it's let's see, what were the operations hidden from the general Discord areas, and what did you expect to happen if all of them were successful? Did you anticipate anyone getting hurt? And I know some of this we went into earlier, but I think that we could probably delve into this a little bit more.
With Mincemeat, I was hoping for laurels, basically. Initially to troll on alt-writer until Jajone shut us down, saying that this was a stupid idea. Basically to make some alt-right YouTuber promote something that would be akin to homeopathy. And we would have watched that and laughed our asses off. And then to troll Jordan Peterson, basically. And with the other operation, basically it was just a safety because we became... I think it was Sabi who said, the chemist who basically said, at some point, people are going to try to get into this server to disrupt their work, pretending to be biologists, etc., etc. And he wanted to set up this project to filter out people who claim to have academic knowledge whilst not. And it worked in the end, like shortly before the drama started. We, for example, got someone claiming to be a biologist who joined us who claimed that DNA is a protein, etc., etc. But we set up the screening process too late for it to function. Again, shit organizer. I should have thought about stuff like that from the start.
Right. Okay. Next question, Lily.
Okay. Kraut. Knowing many people came to the alt-right and race realism as a direct result of your series, do you regret making it? And if not, how would you have handled it differently?
Knowing that many people came to race realism from my videos, well, that's their problem, not mine.
Okay. Just as kind of an right. Just as kind of an FYI, as far as the questions are concerned, a lot of questions are being repeated by people. There's like multiple people asking the same types of questions. If those questions get asked, they're going to probably get asked once. If the questions are not directly related to the task force server, if they're not directly related to Kraut's involvement in the task force server, those questions are not going to get dealt with. Obviously, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about Kraut, about a lot of different things. Some of those opinions I agree with, but I want to make sure that this stream gets focused on the issue of doxing, questions about doxing, and questions about the things relevant to either myself or Kraut. I just want to make sure that that's there because at the end of the day, I'm not looking to amp up unnecessary drama, and I notice that there's a lot of potatoes in the Twitch, so just as an FYI. Do you have any more questions, Lily?
One more, but I'm not really sure what a liberalist is, so we'll go with it.
Okay.
Kraut, are you a liberalist? And have you been following the liberalists?
Nope, I haven't watched any YouTube videos in the past 2 months from this community. Just my usual history YouTube channels with a different channel.
All right, Kraut, I have a question for you, and I was just looking inside the chat. Who is Sinatra? And there's an allegation of you doxing Sinatra. Can you talk about that?
I have no idea who this guy is, besides the fact that people have accused us of doxing him. I
okay.
don't. I think, like I used to be subscribed to over 400 channels or something, but I think I might have subscribed to him because he popped up in the recommendation post. But yeah.
Okay. I saw another question in chat, and again, I'm trying to field some of these questions as well because again, we've got almost 1,000 people in the chat. So why did you think that it would be a good idea to bring people like Zephanorian and Guardian and some of these other people into the task force server?
Why? Well, yeah, because I was too open with the invitations at some point. Like I literally invited someone else in who claimed to be a biologist and then proclaimed that DNA is a protein. So, yeah. So I invited a lot of people. Zeph, mainly because I trust Liz, because Liz is a friend of mine. I've known Liz for 2 years. And I have to say this, I don't think that Liz is in any way a malicious or vindictive person, or even a bad person in that.
All right.
So
This next question is for me. It's from Militant Monastic. I got it out of the Streamlabs from the Bukkake Chokeslams. DDJ, you said you watched Mr. Mediker's and Sargon's accounts on the server. Did you watch any other critical commentary? Once I saw Mr. Mediker's first video, I quit watching things about the entire story. The only reason that I watched the Sargon video is because I was aware from other sources that Coach Red Pill had actually doxed himself. And I thought that his unethical conduct was completely out of bounds. And when I watched the Sargon video, that just confirmed it, because Sargon was able to publish, well, I guess Coach Red Pill published some messages between him and Sargon that admitted to all kinds of things that just really destroyed Coach Red Pill's credibility as far as ethics are concerned. And so I didn't watch anything beyond that. Now, I did notice that in Mr. Mediker's video that he did actually present evidence of bad behavior on Kraut's behalf in the first video, but that bad behavior, by the definition that I'm using of doxing, which is the Merriam-Webster definition, which I published earlier, did not amount to doxing to me. And so what I was concerned about was that this had turned into a witch hunt where everybody who disagreed with Kraut basically threw the kitchen sink at him, and everything bad that Kraut ever did was basically being rebranded as doxing. And I thought that was an issue, because doxing online is the equivalent of being accused of rape, which is why I entitled this stream The Anatomy of a Witch Hunt. Lily, do you have any additional questions, or I'm going to go through these here?
I have a question for you, DDJ.
Go for it.
All right. Triple whatever FE? I don't know.
555.
Serious question, apparently. Yeah, thank you. Are you trying to set yourself apart from other MGTOW content creators?
Well, at some level, yeah. I mean, I have a legal background, which I don't think any other MGTOW content creator has. So that, and I don't think that MGTOW should be an echo chamber. I think that there are a lot of issues in the MGTOW community that don't actually get discussed, like whether or not you're a reluctant MGTOW, or whether or not, you're, the idea of MGTOW is a lot of people think they're just TFLers, or they're neck-bearded basement dwellers. But the reality is that there are a lot of MGTOW out there who, they can date women if they wanted to. They can even start these relationships, but starting the relationship isn't the issue. It's the divorce rape that comes after. It's the false allegations that come after. It's the fact that 50 years of feminism has destroyed the social contract between men and women. It turns into a shit show. I mean, I'm a reluctant MGTOW because it's a sense of self-preservation, because I don't want to be falsely accused of stuff. Look at the Me Too allegations. There are people who are having consensual sex, and these women are falsely accusing these men of crimes they didn't commit, and they're destroying these men's lives. And it is happening left and right. It's so bad that in the United Kingdom, for example, if a man gets falsely accused of sexual assault in the United Kingdom in a criminal court, the woman who accuses him, she gets to actually record her testimony doing multiple takes on a video recorder, or basically, have it like filmed in camera, where they've got a script and everything else. All this amounts to witness tampering. It's completely unethical, and there's no option to cross-examine her or to basically go into the history of the situation to determine whether or not she's full of shit. You look at Gian Gomeshi out of British Columbia. This guy was like, he was in the I think it was like the BDSM community or something like that. He was a friend of Justin Trudeau. He was a big-time social justice warrior. And the 3 women who ended up accusing him of sexual assault, Jesus Christ, they sent 5,000 emails between them conspiring to set him up because he was a rich and successful man. And what did feminists do after they found evidence of this, and they basically destroyed the credibility of these 3 false rape accusers? When he was found innocent, they protested outside the courthouse, and then they changed the laws so the man couldn't protect himself. So absolutely, fucking pop smoke and get the fuck out. don't commit, don't cohabitate, don't marry any of these women. And again, it's not that women are bad, it's that feminism has destroyed the social contract between men and women. So anytime that, you know, a woman gets upset at you, she can falsely accuse you of stuff and destroy your life. And I've done multiple videos on this. I mean, the Duluth model is based on a lie. The co-founder of the Duluth model admitted that she lied. You know, avoiding marriage is not enough was another video I talked about, where I showed that the domestic violence restraining orders in everywhere that feminism has been adopted, and when I say everywhere, I mean every country where feminism has been adopted, that people could use civil domestic violence orders just to destroy your life, and you'll never be criminally charged. You'll never have a chance to confront your accuser. And if you're in the United States, you have no option to exercise your constitutional rights to defend yourself. So yeah, it's absolute bullshit. Do you have any other questions, or should I go on?
Nope. You take the ones that you're getting.
All right.
I got some on Skype.
Give me a second. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me kick on a couple of these here. Kraut. Okay, so we asked and answered this question about the original intent of the server, so let's skip that one. Sorry, Ed. Let's see. I'm looking for one specifically for you. Go for it.
Someone asked me on Skype why I called myself a monster in the statement on Patreon that I made. The reason for that is that I shit-talked people pretty nastily behind their backs. I'm not going to go into the specifics who exactly, but yeah, that was a fucking asshole thing to do. And yeah, I consider that monstrous, not going up to people and tell them to their face what you really think of them. So I will have to, yeah.
Okay,
I'll have
fair
to address
enough.
that.
Right. So here's a question, and this one has actually been asked multiple times, but I'm going to ask it once. Do you believe race is real?
Race is not a biological construct, a biological concept. And this is not something that I believe. This is something that was explained to me in detail.
Okay. I don't have any dog in this fight, so like, I mean, obviously you've got a lot of people that talk about race realism and the differences in race. I do know that TFM talks about the differences in IQ between the different races, and I think that some of his videos he talked about how Asians have the highest IQs, and then I think they're called Asiatic Jews, and then Caucasians, and then after that are some others. So I don't want to like dig into that per se, but I know TFM's talked about that a little bit. That's not something I know jack shit about. I'm just you know. Hashtag
I got
me
one
too.
I got one relating to a friend of mine, a German YouTuber who was in the server.
Okay.
The accusation being that Maricon posted someone's docs in a doxing server. This is one of the accusations I went through. He posted archives in the Reconquista Germanica thread. The archives were of comments that Reconquista Germanica made. And if you had looked at these archived links, it were archives of, comments under a YouTube video. And the YouTube video is titled with his real name. And this Reconquista Germanica literally starts every single video he makes and still makes with, "Hello, my name is Nikolai Alexander, and today we'll talk about this." And the reason Maricon posted these links were because he made these comments under his own video and then deleted him. And the comments were about him basically detailing and talking to his subscribers that they should be extra vicious and extra nasty wherever they can to force the German government into expanding censorship and becoming more of a surveillance state, so that when they get in power, they would have the surveillance state already built for them and they would just have to creep in and take it over. That's basically it. There was no docs posted by Maricon.
Okay. Next question, and this one is from, let's see, it's Zombrizit Hoven or some shit like that. I don't know. I can't pronounce your name, bro. My bad. Kraut, knowing many people came to the alt-right and race realism as a direct result of your series, do you regret making it? And if not, how would you have handled it differently, or would you have handled it differently?
I don't regret it at all. If people watch some of the silly videos out there and decide that they're now race realists, yeah, that is their hill to die on.
Okay.
I might sound arrogant saying this, but I'm coming out of months of conversations with some of the most senior scientists I will probably ever get to talk to, professionals in fields of genetics, etc. And they have all confirmed to me that all of this stuff that you find on YouTube by the alt-right is nonsense.
Okay.
And probably someone better than me, and I hope myself, one of the biologists I worked with himself, will open their own channels, and they will explain this probably in better ways.
Okay. I'm assuming this question is for you, mainly because obviously we're having this conversation now on a live stream. Will you go on the Kumite or Warski Live or other live streams? So the person who asked the question was, will you go on to Kumite or Warski Live? But I'm asking on top of that, will you go on other people's live streams to talk about this?
I find it funny that they ask me almost a month after all the drama started, rather than asking me back then what the server was really about.
Okay. Is that a yes or no?
I would need some convincing to go on there, considering the fact that I'm kind of off YouTube and really talking only to a few people anymore, and kind of focusing on real life issues, and keeping also in mind that they didn't ask me for my perspective on things from the start.
Okay.
Which they probably should have done.
All right.
But yeah.
Okay, next question is from PureTide001. Does the quote-unquote Germans Are Coming Facebook page also belong to Kraut? And it says, this is the one that posts cool Nazi art all the time. I don't know of it. I've never heard of it.
That's fucking... Yeah, no, they found... the story behind that is, before I came to YouTube, I've only really... I don't think if I ever talked about this publicly on a stream or something. Before I came to YouTube, the online community that I came out of was the Total War modding community. Total War being a game series. You probably know Total War Rome.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Warhammer Total War.
Yeah, I used to be active in the modding community there. My first mod was a medieval Total War 2 unit pack for the Teutonic Knights. And from there, I grabbed my name, which was The Germans Are Coming. And what I used to do was make unit packs and unit reskins packs. I made the Persians Are Coming for Rome 2, the Athenians Are Coming, the Spartans Are Coming, the Romans Are Coming. Retexture packs. I can post some screenshots if you want at some point. I can send them to you via DM. That's where the name comes from. But the idea itself, like, I've made videos for over a year on the fact on how heavily surveilled Facebook is in Germany. I've had a man on a stream last year who was arrested in Germany, who had his apartment raided by the federal police because he posted a meme of a blonde naked woman doing the Hitler salute. If I were to run, and I lived in Germany for a couple of years before I moved to Austria last year, if I had run a Nazi Facebook page in Germany, I wouldn't be here running a YouTube channel. I wouldn't be here on a stream. I would be rotting in some dungeon.
Okay. Next question is
surveilled.
Yeah, that's fine. Next question is from me, DDJ. Given Zephaniorian is an anti-MGTOW who has stated multiple times on his YouTube videos that one of his goals is to dox and expose MGTOW's identities, how can you take his statement that the server was not a doxing server seriously? I actually believe the statement because I can't find any motivation for Zephaniorian to say anything else. Now, I will say that the direct message that was given to me that I posted on the screen earlier, that I will make public later, was not a direct message thread between myself and Zephaniorian, but it was between Zephaniorian and someone else. And so I don't think that, like I said, I think that given that Zephaniorian's involvement with the quote-unquote alleged doxing server and all the allegations that were associated with it, I tend to believe his view. But more importantly, I talked with Devil's Advocate. I trust Devil's Advocate. Devil's Advocate assures me it wasn't a doxing server. More importantly, I looked at who potentially could have been doxed, and the only person who actually went out of their way to say they had been doxed by Kraut or were threatened to be doxed by Kraut was Coach Red Pill, and he had actually doxed himself prior multiple times. So, there has to be in order for a crime to be committed, there has to be a crime, right? So, who was doxed? And again, when I posted the announcement for this video, I wanted to double check my work. I wanted people to go, to make sure that I wasn't stepping out of the verifiable facts and observable reality. So I posted a pinned post on the announcement that was, hey, if you have direct evidence that stands on its own, free of narrative and free of somebody's context on top of that can demonstrate, Kraut doxed somebody, or even somebody on the task force server who used Kraut's information to dox someone, I want it. And I gave my email address. I was like, look, here's my email. Shoot me an email. That video went out with that pinned post on Tuesday. Today's Sunday. I haven't gotten a single response. Not a single one. I've got people promoting their YouTube channels. I've got people promoting their opinions. I've got people promoting their commentary, but I haven't gotten anybody providing me with any kind of facts. So now with regard to the stuff with Sargon, where Kraut actually admitted that he had somebody's docs, it turned out that he was actually talking about public information and Kraut was just being retarded. So when it came to that was my view. So
why was your...
Go ahead.
Sorry. Why was your server targeting Jordan Peterson? What kind of trolling were you planning? Why do you consider him alt-right? I don't consider Jordan Peterson alt-right. I consider him full of shit and ridiculous. I find his ramblings about postmodernism nonsensical. I find his crying weird. And advertising, basically what we try to do, okay, you can have a live stream with Jordan Peterson if you pay him $200 or $400. And we wanted to gather together that money and pay him to get on the stream. And I wanted him to go on the stream with Adverdiesen. Now you can look up Adverdiesen himself. Adverdiesen is a 50-year-old insane alcoholic who believes that there's a postmodernist women's mafia that steals families' children. He's batshit insane, crazy. And we wanted to, he keeps talking stuff about how ISIS are the good guys because they're not postmodernized and other shit like that. And we wanted to set up a stream between Jordan Peterson and that alcoholic and tell Jordan Peterson that, that's a Dutch intellectual philosopher with a speech impediment. And then just watch it, just laugh our asses off. We wanted to troll Jordan Peterson. That was basically, after the first mincemeat thing went into the trash can, we talked about doing that.
Okay. All right. So, guys, there's a person in the channel who is Prinny Lordy who just keeps on spamming. Ban him, please, the next time you see him, or if you can find him, ban him now. Sorry, the short bus is not making any more stops than absolutely necessary. If you want to ask a question, ask a question. If you don't want to ask a question and you just need the attention, just go play hide and go fuck yourself because you're retarded. Next question. Have you spoken to any of the alt-writers you opposed after all this shit went down?
No, and I didn't even speak with them whilst I was making videos on them. So, no. I don't have an intention to do so far. Like, all right, so to underline this, I'm currently just completely focused on my private life, more or less.
Okay. All right. Next question. As someone who has been doxxed in the past, why would you want any info on someone that they themselves didn't post or be shared? Did you want any info? I guess so. Let me ask a question again, and then let me ask a follow-up. As someone who has been doxxed in the past, why would you want anyone or any info on someone that they themselves didn't post to be shared? And then my next question is, did you want any info on anybody that was private?
Oh shit, sorry, I fucked my microphone.
You're fine.
Did I want information on anyone that was private? You mean that in the sense of their address, etc., etc.? No, I didn't want anything of that. Nothing.
Okay. Why were you running around telling everybody that you had people's doxes and that you wanted to have somebody do some shit about it?
Because I found that video and I thought it was a dox. I asked people if it was a dox, and I posted it in the task force server asking, is that a dox? And I talked with people, debated more or less if it is a dox. Other stuff as well, not relating to that. Like if you find someone's old YouTube channel, stuff like that, where they uploaded cringy videos, that's basically what we discussed if that was a dox. But the thing about alt hype is that it wasn't even a cringy YouTube channel. You have to keep in mind, and I didn't know this until 3-4 months ago, that the guy is basically trying to push the race realist shtick for 9 years. And he has 8-7 channels, and I basically tried to find every single one of them, and just, even though it's probably 30 hours worth of material, I wanted to basically watch half of it at the very least, to get a better idea of the argument, to see how often he has been repeating it. I just kept searching on YouTube for his old channel names that were brought up to me. And yeah, I don't know how much of a dox it is.
Okay.
We debated if it is or not.
All right. I'm looking at some of these questions. Many of them are irrelevant to the subject that we're talking about. Some of them are things about, oh, here we go. Here's an important one. What brand of nipple clamps did you use in 2015?
I don't have nipple clamps. I have vibrating nipple clamps. Big difference. Big difference.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. I think that is... Lily, do you have any other questions?
No, I think you got the ones that I didn't get, so that's pretty good. The rest are just repeats of what we've already answered.
Yeah, and then we got, super important questions like, is Tilly Law single? I don't know who Tilly Law is, so...
Yep, Tilly Law is single.
Okay. All right. I think that is everything. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Obviously, this is going to get uploaded to YouTube, and I'm sure that it'll probably be cut and pasted into a lot of people's videos, and there'll be all kinds of responses for that. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and please check out my sponsor, The Dollhouse, and look for the video later today on my YouTube channel, Misandry Today, and the information that I have as far as the evidence that, in addition to everything else we talked about today, that confirms that the task force was not a doxing server, will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. Will be uploaded to my Twitter, which is @Misandry Today, and then we'll go from there. So, Kraut, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. And Lily, I know that you had your hands full with all the questions, especially all the spam and the spurg questions. And all my mods, I appreciate all the hard work you did, including that bitch moo bot, which keeps on fucking pimping everybody. Thank you, everybody. Kraut, did you want to end on anything?
Yeah, who is Tonka? I keep seeing that.
Tonka Saw runs a thing called Morning Kumite, a YouTube channel, and many extremely large YouTube channel content creators go on his show, and I believe that they do like a one-on-one type debate where he moderates.
So he's a debate channel?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I understand him to be. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you again, and I hope everybody has a great afternoon, and look forward to the video here later today. Take care.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.